Welcome to the Two Posh Podcast.
I am Gabrielle. I'm a former New York Mafia princess, originally from Austria. I am the mother of 3 and the owner of Two Posh Boutique. And here with my beautiful co-host, Marcella, my daughter.
Hello, I'm Marcella. I'm a dancer, choreographer, model, and designer for Two Posh. And I say whatever the I want.
Hi, my name is Cruz. I am a stylist. I also own the Society Salon in the Design District, and I am a short little Mexican with a big personality.
I am Polly. I am a certified sexual health consultant and educator, former professional dominatrix, currently working at the largest adult novelty store in the Texas Panhandle.
What will they say next? Welcome to the Two Posh Podcast.
Liv, welcome.
I'm back for more.
Liv Guley.
My girl.
What's going on?
She is
I
like that. Our gossip girl is here by herself today because they are all busy with partying.
Everybody's busy. We are busy. busy. It's
So
party season.
Party season. I thought you party all the time.
I know. It's all season. all
So
season.
I know for a fact that we haven't seen you in a while, and there have been texts going back and forth with, oh my God, just wait. Just wait when we tell you this. Oh my gosh, just wait till we tell you this.
So many.
So many things have happened. I don't remember any of them because they were just hints. So
I know. I don't
You
even know where to
just
start. I know Berkeley
start
doesn't want me to
anywhere.
say one because she wants to be here because it's so good.
That's
I can't spill the tea without her because it was her trip technically. So I was just a bystander of it.
Oh, dang.
Where's Berkeley?
I know.
She's
She's getting her
also
makeup
partying.
done, or
Oh.
she would be here. Yeah, we have a party to go to tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's
so.
right.
I mean, I don't really know. We've kind of been just like hanging out. I mean, I'm trying to think. Let's see.
Where have you traveled to? Start.
God. Okay, where did I go last? I'm like having a full memory blank. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's start. I went. We could start with the rallies. Like I went on my rally
yes.
for like in June. I want to say like beginning of June.
How long did you do that?
And
for?
it's 7 days. So it's 7 days, 7 cities all across the country.
Damn.
God.
So we started in God, you do so many. I don't even know where we started.
When the alcohol kicks in.
I know. Well, okay. So, we started in Vegas this year. I do know that. We started in Vegas. We ended in Miami. Okay. So we did Vegas to Miami, and it's basically like 100 exotic cars from all over the world, and they like come and they either have their own and ship them in, or they rent or whatever they want to do, and they come and it's 7 days, 7 cities, and you drive all day and then you party all night.
So tell me, that has to be crazy stories. First of all, did you meet someone cute?
I did.
Whoa.
Are we
A little
still
cutie.
talking to this
Yeah,
cutie?
we're still talking. Yeah.
What is it?
Slowly but surely,
Tell
you
us
know,
where's he
just-
from?
He lives in Austin now, so he's in Austin. He just moved there, but just slow. We got a lot going on in both of our lives, so just taking it slow for now, and whatever comes will be.
And talking. I like talking.
Yeah. We've been dating, so
Yeah.
nothing crazy, but definitely dating.
So this rally, all these like super exotic cars are actually on the road driving from Vegas all the way, putting all those miles in,
Mhm.
in those
To
cars.
Miami,
Wow.
yeah, and it's not just like highways; it's like back roads. So it's not gonna be you're like, let's get there and like the quickest route. It's the back roads, the canyon roads, the all the stops. So I mean, you're going like 400 or 500 miles a day. When in
Wow.
reality, you could be going from Denver to Santa Fe direct. That's like only like a few hundred, like a couple hundred miles, like 2 or 3, like 250.
Whoa.
But then you add on, you tack on like an extra 100 or so, like going through the back roads and stuff, which is pretty crazy because I mean, I think it's got to be like over 1,500 miles, I think, for the week. It has to be at least.
Wow.
I would
putting
say
all those miles on the
maybe
exotic
2,500
cars.
miles or closer to what I would
Oh
think.
my gosh.
And
So
how
do you
many
guys
of them
stop?
get into accidents?
Yeah, like is there accident?
Well, knock on wood, we obviously I've actually been in a few accidents on it. So
Been in them?
yeah. So
No.
my
It'd be
very
hard not to with those cars in those kind of conditions. Like
yeah, a lot of times and
they're
like
made for
they're made
street.
for they're made for speed. So like a lot of times like the drivers like that own the cars are very experienced. Like they have track time, they've had driving lessons and things like that. But a lot of times when there are accidents, it's it's an accident.
Yeah.
So like my very first year, actually, I got into an accident which I shouldn't have probably ever walked away from. So
What?
yeah, we actually had left Dallas that morning and we were driving to Memphis and we stopped like in East Texas like for lunch somewhere. And
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
So if you're a bunch of the girls, just so I know how it works, you guys are working these rallies, or you guys ride with random people, or how does that work?
So I'm an event coordinator for them. So I've been with them for 10 years now. So I like help
okay.
them plan their nightlife parties, like the dinners, what we should do in each city, get
Oh my gosh.
sponsors. Yeah.
What?
So it's like a whole nother job. So yeah, it takes us like we start planning in November and then our event is like the next spring.
How
beginning
many
of summer.
people are we talking?
There's here a total of 150 cars. So it's like, I think it was 81 on the first half, and then you drop like 20, and then you add like another 60 or 40 or something like that. So like altogether, when all said and done, because you can do the whole thing, or you can do like the first half or the second half, depending on like what you can do.
And then you will just, going back to your story, you then will ride with.
I will ride with anyone. So typically, like our staff, they ride in staff vehicles, like because we have to get there to like the first, set up the flags and make sure people know where they're going. So they kind of the staff takes the direct route and they go straight to like wherever the next stop is, so they can kind of set up for everyone. That's kind of also why we take a little bit longer route. So when we get there, people aren't like looking around like, well, where do we go? Like, what do we do? So I am more of like a liaison, like a client liaison. Like I'm making sure like you're having fun. Like nobody really wants to drive alone. Like it's long and you're like tired on the road because you get up at like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
and you went to bed at 3. So like you're driving all day and you're driving fast and hard. And so it's like a gentleman. Like you have to be paying attention. It's not like a leisurely drive. So yeah.
So then you're in the car with somebody.
And
that
if
you
you're
know?
in the car, okay, so this is my first year, so I didn't know anybody.
You're by
Nobody.
yourself?
I knew one person. I knew one girl. She was she's in like one of the like owners of the rally.
Okay.
And I had met her in Orange County when I was living there when I was like 18. My roommate at the time, her boyfriend was into car rallies. And we did one, her and I, my roommate, in San Diego. And we met this girl and just kind of like Facebook friends, and like jokingly like 2 years later, she like put on her Facebook like, oh, I need an assistant like for the rally. And I was like, I'll do it. And she's like, okay. So then like that was that. And so I like went off, flew to San Francisco and like started the rally. So like I didn't know anybody. But I'm in charge of like registration. So check your ID, check your insurance, make sure you fill out all your paperwork, sign all that stuff, get all your goodie bags, swag bags, like all the sponsor gifts. And then like the next day the rally starts.
Okay. And then back to your experience in the car. So were you with somebody you knew?
No, I didn't know because it was my first year. And so it was actually like a former partner of the rally. So
Okay.
like he's I love him to death. Like we'll always be like tied together obviously after something crazy like that. But he's he's very careless. And I didn't know that. Obviously I didn't know anybody. So like he was like, "Oh, ride with me, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Okay." And at the time we were supposed to take a Bugatti. So I'm like 21 and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm for sure going in this. Like that's gonna be fucking awesome. I woke up and a new Bugatti song just came out. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
Like my theme song.
Yeah. So like we drive and we get all the way to this. Okay, well we drive to the end of the first half was like San Francisco to Vegas. So like we get to Vegas and all the cars get shipped on like a truck to go to the second half. So like sometimes we don't drive in between because it's so boring and flat. It's like it's easier for us to just ship the cars and then you start in a new city and then do like another half. So the second half was going to be Dallas to, I want to say Chicago is where we're going. So like Dallas, Memphis, like one of the Carolinas, I think, something like that, St. Louis, and then Chicago. And so we leave Dallas. Okay, so we're packing up the cars to go to Dallas. And there's like a big truck and it's a line, of cars. At this point, like I don't know this guy. And he's like not very talkative. He's very shy, like extremely socially awkward.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
people that are extremely wealthy, like usually are like so weird.
Yeah.
Like so weird, have no social skills, no social cues. So we're like packing, we're getting ready, we're waiting in line in the car to like load the car on the trailer and like check in and like go continue, right? So he's like getting impatient. And it's in the back of the hotel. So that's like, like a little security desk, and it's got like the grates that go this way and the grates that go this way. So like you can't back up or go either way, right? So he's like getting impatient and he's like, fuck this, I'm going around. So he goes around, but he doesn't realize that there's spikes that are coming at us. Like, like the in and outs of like gates.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no. And he just runs right over it. Okay. So he slashes all 4 tires right then and there.
Oh
So the car is like, we can get it on the trailer, but it's going to go straight to, I want to say it went to Porsche here because there is the McLaren dealership. And that's what we were driving at the time because he had broken his Bugatti. So before we even started. So that should have been my first class. Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 20. Well, at the time I was 21. He was probably 27 at the time.
What do you know what he did?
Yeah. His parents manufacture like UGG, Nike, Giuseppe Zanotti, Miu Miu, all the shoes in China.
Wow.
Got it.
Huge, like very, very wealthy. Like has like, it's crazy. He's a whole different level of wealth. So he slashes all of his tires. We put it on the truck. It comes here to Dallas. They're fixing it. They get all 4 tires. He replaces the tires. Okay, brand new tires. We get in the car the next day. We leave. We're going to Memphis. We are like in East Texas somewhere. And it just so happened to be like right in the town. Like my mom's sister lives in East Texas. There's like a random, like tiny town. Like nobody would know of it. So we're like driving and there's 2 lanes and there's semi trucks. And like there's a lot of cars in our group. So like we're trying to like, get around or whatever. And like obviously, like I said, like we encourage like people to drive safe. Like it's not technically a rally, like a race, like it's a rally. It's a moving car show. And there are like we put in parts that is specific for speed. Like it's meant to be like where not other people are gonna be around, things like that. Like that's why we do track days and things like that. So you can do that like in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
Right. So like the cars ahead of us are kind of fucking with these trucks and they were getting pissed.
The trucks.
Yeah. So on the 2-lane highway, they just stopped. Not stop, but they were just like slow moving, like together. Like we could tell, like they're on the radios, like, let's fucking stop these guys, like they're annoying. Which we probably were. Like I'll give them that. Like I definitely like I've seen it happen before. So I'm not really paying attention. And like I'm like on my phone texting, and these cars are very low to the ground. Like when you're in it, you're like this high, so you're like very like low. So I look up, and we're in the grass, like on the left side. So it's like 2 lanes, and then there's like the median, but there's like a patch of grass. We're on a patch of grass, and I'm like, what the fuck? So he had like veered off, and I'm like, oh shit. I look up, we're in a patch of like grass. We're going fast, like well over 130 miles per hour. And so we get back on the highway. He like jerks back on.
Oh my gosh.
And you can kind of feel like when you're getting in a car accident, like you can feel the car like, but you can feel the car kind of gain its control again. So I'm like, okay, we're going to be fine. Like, we're kind of just like skidding around a little bit, but I'm like, oh, I could feel it. Like you could feel like the control coming back a little bit. As soon as I thought that, no control. We end up like sliding all the way off to the other side of the highway, jump over like a ditch, like go airborne. We miss a telephone pole by probably like this much. And we end up smashing on my side right into like one of those big storage places on the side of the road, like the metal buildings.
Wow.
Just boom, right into it. So now I'm in it. But the whole time, like you said, you're in like that slow motion. You're like, oh, fuck. Like, it thought it was like 10 minutes long, and it's really like 10 seconds. So, like, the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm just thinking, like, okay, like, when they tell you, like, how deep people who drunk drive, like, they never die because, like, their body's so relaxed because they're not expecting it. I was like, all right, don't brace. So I'm just, like, trying to relax. Like, in my mind, I was like, oh, my God, like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Like, and I was, like, in my side. I'm inside of the storage unit. Like, obviously, I can't open my door. And so, like, we have to crawl out of his side, and, like, we just basically wait for the ambulance to come, the fire truck to come, because obviously we have to pull the car out.
Were you hurt?
No, not a single scratch. I went to the hospital, like, so after that happened, like, we were stuck there for probably like 3 hours, 4 hours. But like we had the guy who owned the car, the company, like the rental car company, they were on the rally. So they stopped because there's cars behind us and cars ahead of us. So like everybody that was behind us stopped. Yeah. And they saw it and they're like, that was like the scariest thing we've ever seen. Because they're just like watching it happen. There's nothing you can do. So they stop, a bunch of people stop, and we just tell them to keep going. Like, not everybody, but some people. So we had like, they were in like a little Porsche, and then there was a Rolls Royce that stopped, so that we could get in the car because we needed to like be in some car. Like, what are we gonna do? We're in the middle of nowhere. We're like in the country. And so I didn't tell my parents like when it happened because I didn't really know what I was gonna do. Like at this point, like someone had given me like a pain pill because they're like, oh, you're gonna need this, like just take this. So I didn't feel any pain, right? Until it started to wear off. So we get in the car, like he ends up like getting, I think, kind of arrested or detained, and we have to go like pick him up. Well, I don't think it was like a full arrest. I think they like took him in and like gave him a ticket and like did the whole thing, but like I don't think he got arrested.
So he didn't get hurt either.
No, we both like walked away, and it was insane. Like I cannot believe that.
I have another question for this. Was he kind? Was he nice? Was he
So nice.
apologetic?
He's very nice. He was
Okay.
like nervous, like
Okay.
very like holy shit. We're like both like what the fuck, and I don't even know this person basically.
When you were in the car with him, was he more social with you?
No, like silent. Like for 3 days, 4 days, just silence in the car. I'm navigating because you have to like watch the map, and then you have like Waze, and you have like all these different things because you're like looking for cops and you're looking for like hazards on the road, like because they'll mark that on the Waze app, like, and even if it's not on rallies and things, but you want to watch out. So like it's just like bare minimum, like no conversation, no like at all, no. So we
Isn't
end
that weird?
very
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
a trooper because I'd be like, I don't want to do this.
Well, like, I mean, it's not that bad. Honestly, for a lot of it, I was just sleeping. Like, I was just kind of like nodding off because he had the
You're
top.
working too.
Yeah, and he had the top up, and I was partying really, really hard at night, like really fucking hard. So, like, in the day, like, you get up at 7 and you have to go all day. Like, there's no
Yeah.
You had the top off.
downtime.
Oh my god.
Yes, it was hot. And so, like, it's
Yeah.
kind of like when you're getting your hair blow dried and you kind of like nod off. Like, that's kind of what it was. So I was like sleeping, and meanwhile, he's like going up 200. I'm like sleeping with, like, and if he's like, how are you sleeping? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just tired. So we end up picking him up. We get in this like little tiny Porsche, and him and I are in the back. So we're like tiny squished.
Oh my god.
Okay, and so we're driving to Memphis because I was like, well, at least let's go to Memphis, and then like I'll assess like what I want to do because I didn't know if I was gonna go home or anything. Well, by the time I got to
Scared to go
Memphis,
home.
I was like, I know that sounds crazy, but like I was like, I didn't want to go home. Like I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like I don't really. I think I was just kind of in shock. Like it was like so crazy. Like I was like, oh, I guess I'll just stay. Like it's only 3 more days. Come this far. Well, by the time I had gotten to Memphis, like that pain pill started to wear off. So now I'm feeling everything, and I'm like in excruciating pain because I've been like chilling for like 6 hours, like in the back of the car, just like nothing ever happened. So I end up going to the hospital. They check me out. I tell them what happened, and they're looking at me like I'm a crazy person. They're like, no fucking way. And they're like, you don't have one scratch. I'm like, oh, I have like this little scratch on my hand. And they're like, that's it. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how fast are you going? And I'm like, I don't know, like 140, 150. And they're like, no fucking way. Like they just couldn't believe it. But they did like all the tests and stuff, and so whatever. So by the time I had got to Memphis, I was like, well, thank God. Thank you. Thank you. But by the time I got to Memphis, it was all over the news, like in Dallas. And since my aunt had lived in that city, like one over, my aunt saw it on the news, and they said my first and last name. And so my aunt called my mom, and my mom started freaking out, and they called me, and they were like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, oh, I'm okay. So then I ended up going home the next day. I was like, yeah, I know. As a parent, like, I'm sure that was like the worst. That's probably the worst thing I ever put my parents through. But I was okay, thank God. But I ended up going home the next day because I was like, I'm not going to sit in the car for 2 more days after this. Because I was like very sore, obviously. But I mean, no broken bones, no nothing, which I think is so crazy. Yeah.
And here you are 10 years later.
10 years
Still
later.
at
I
Going
know.
back at it.
I
Still at
know.
it.
I know. I actually one time crashed my boss's car.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Ferrari 458.
Oh my gosh.
How'd you do that?
We were in Pismo Beach, and we were stopping off for lunch, and I had gotten lost, and he was in the car industry. I worked for BMW at the time. Well, kind of for BMW. And so he had like all these relationships with dealerships. And so Mc Laren, San Francisco, needed a car to go from LA to San Francisco. Like it needed to come back. And so our rally started LA on our next stop in San Francisco. So they called him and we're like, hey, and this is not like the owner of the rally, like a different, I had worked when I was working corporate at the time. And so he's like, hey, can you like drop this car off? And then, on the first leg. And he was like, well, what am I going to do with my car? Because he had shipped his car out from like North Carolina. And he was like, the guy was like, I don't know. And he was like, okay, well, let me try to figure it out. So he ends up coming to me and he's like, well, what do you think we should do? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, don't you want to drive your car? Like, that's the whole point of it. Like, why are you going to drive this random car? He's like, yeah. And he was like, well, maybe I can have Eric drive it. And I was like, oh, what are you going to drive by yourself? Like, that's not fun. He was like, yeah, you're right. And he's like, you know what? You're gonna drive it. And I'm like, I'm not driving this. Like, I don't even like driving my own car. Like, So he's like, yeah, you're gonna drive it. So I don't have anybody to go with me because like obviously I'm just driving his car. So I'm trying to navigate and drive and figure out how to drive this car because I've never by myself. So I end up getting lost. And so like I pull over and at this point I can't even figure out how to turn, like put it in park. Like he forgot to tell me that part, figuring like we were going to be following each other the whole time. But obviously that doesn't always happen. Like things happen, you break off, you miss a turn, whatever. So I'm like literally like, okay, so now I'm just like circling around the 7-Eleven, like trying to look on my map, but like trying to circle around because I'm like trying to figure out how to cross because I'm on the 5 and I need to get to the 1 in California. So I need to cut across basically to get to PCH somehow. So I'm like looking up on the map like, okay, which one's gonna take me? So I finally figure it out. I end up meeting up with them at a gas station. They're like, we're gonna wait for you here. I meet up with them and I'm like, okay, after lunch, like I'm done driving. Like Eric needs to drive. Like I'm so tired of this. This is like, it's very like, I was like nervous. Yeah, it's stressful. And so he's like, okay. So we pulled up Pismo Beach and again, it's low to the ground, right? Like the car. So I pull up and it's like probably 10 of us in a row. And there's cars parked. It was a beach town. So there's cars parked on the side of the street. So I can't see over these cars. But in order, you have to like go out. But like I can't see. So I look and I'm thinking it's a one-way road. I'm thinking it just goes this way. It is not. It is a two-way. So the second I pull out past the cars that are parked, I'm not even looking this way because I'm like, it's a one-way. Why would I be looking this way? And a big truck just runs right over the top of us. I was like, what? Not only did I just total my boss's car, everybody saw it. The 5 people ahead of me and the 5 people behind me. And I'm just like sitting there like, okay, well now I guess the car stopped now. I know how to put it in park because I didn't go anywhere. It was broken. He was so nice about it though. I was crying obviously and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. Like this is so bad. And he like pulled it to lunch and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. And he had like already called his wife and he was like, Maria's like, just wants to make sure you're okay, Mama. And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm like, what about the car? He was like, no, you actually did me a really big favor. And I was like, what? And he was thinking about getting like this new Ferrari that was coming out. I think at the time it was the Pista. And he was like really thinking about it, but he had just gotten this and he was like, well, I just got this, like, well, whatever. So he goes, I actually just called Eric at Ferrari and put my down payment on my Pista. So he's like, you did me a big favor. Oh my God. Because he got to drive that for a little bit and then he got his new car.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I've been in 2 accidents, but I mean, thankfully in our rallies, no one's ever like, been extremely hurt. Unfortunately, there are some around the country that are not as lucky as we are. So it's definitely like not the safest thing. But we try to really emphasize safety, like in the past, like obviously in all the years, and especially continuing. Like we definitely emphasize like you need to be safe. Like this is not for being an asshole driver. Like
wow.
Tell me about like guys and then how many girls like. How is that whole thing?
You'd be surprised. Like a lot of them, some of them are husband and wife teams. Some of them are all girl teams. Some of them are all guy teams. We've had father-son, father-daughter, mother-son. So like it's really a family affair. Like really anybody. We had a gay couple that had rainbow penises all over their car. Like so it's really like whatever goes. It's kind of like what it really is. It's like a family of almost outcasts. It's like how you say like okay like you're very successful in business and like everybody around you a lot of times are like kind of like what can I get from you?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of feel like an outcast in a way, like nobody really understands them. And this is kind of like a family of like like a fucked up family that like just gets each other. Like, you know, like we all talk in a WhatsApp thread and it's like no question is weird. Like that you can fly your freak flag. Like you can like it's you can comment like totally like just be yourself and like nobody cares. Like people dress up in theme all day, all week.
That's
Some
neat.
people
Yeah,
just
that
like
sounds really
it's
cool.
kind of just like, you know, it's not like a uppity snobby like I'm rich, you're poor thing. Like there are people like that on other rallies, but when you come to ours, I think, you know, we kind of shut that down really quickly. Like you realize like that's not why people are here is to brag
Yeah.
about how much money you have. It's more like, you know, building a relationship and then networking, and it's not about that. It's like just about like hanging out with the people, the times.
Do
Like
y'all film it?
we do a film crew, so like we have like photo cars, we have film cars, and like I mean
Yeah.
these guys like harness themselves and like hang out
Yeah,
the back of
that's what I was
minivans and
thinking.
stuff. But I think, you know, we've been approached a few times about doing something big, so I think that's definitely not out of the question in the future. This will be our 15th year of their rally. So
Have you ever seen Cannonball Run?
yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that
so
movie.
and then obviously like the Cannonball Run now is like fastest time from New York to LA. And Richard Rawlings obviously had that for many years. He held that title, and then
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
So and then this was probably like in the 2010s ish, like that those years. And then a guy that was on our rally, he did it right before COVID, broke the record, so he held the record. Then someone
Do you
did
know the record?
not off the top of my head. I think it's right under 20. I think it's like 23 hours
Wow.
or something like that. It's like 23 or
Google it.
26, something like that. And then someone during COVID obviously went and broke it again because they're like, oh, well, there's nobody on the roads.
Yeah.
Because the whole point is like, and they're not driving supercars. They mod these cars. So like it's 3 people in a car, 1 driver, 1 navigator, and 1 lookout. Like a guy in the back with binoculars, like, you know, like
This is
looking ahead.
crazy.
I know.
But,
I can't even imagine.
So the guy broke it during COVID, and my friend,
25 hours and 39 minutes.
yeah.
October 2021.
oh wow.
Yeah, Mr. Toman, shout out Arnie.
Wow. Yep. Arnie. Yep.
Yeah. And so he was
Wow.
really not upset, but you know, like he was like, damn, like
Average
this.
speed of 110 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have so much
Wow.
anxiety.
Yeah, and
That's
then they
it.
just go like he starts at like 11 o'clock at night, and they go like obviously for 25 hours. But so he was upset that someone had broke it during COVID because he like, you know, that's kind of like their advantage, you know, like nobody's really on the roads and things like that. So his wife was like, you know what, do it again. And he's like, okay. So he did it again, broke it again. So he
No
still
way.
holds it now, yeah, from last year, but he did it twice, yeah. And broke
Unbelievable.
it twice. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty crazy like little community. Like it's pretty small knit. Like you would be surprised. Like we've had NASCAR drivers on it. We had Howard Stern's limo driver on it. We
What?
had like all of these random people. Paige Hathaway who came on a leg. Like so.
So is there any like crazy gossip on this kind of stuff? Like as besides
I'm
her
sure
almost-
there is.
Yeah, I mean,
Crashing.
there's just crazy stuff because it's like what the problem is like, well, it's not a problem, but you go a lot of times into these like little towns, and they have never seen anything like this, you know, so they're not really equipped to handle us in a way of like, you know, we want, you know, to stay open until 3 o'clock in the morning. We
Yeah.
want to, you know, like be loud and, you know, hang out
You
with
want
our
the
friends.
good tequila.
Yeah, well, we don't want 1 drink. We want 3 bottles. We want 5, and we're like little hotel bars, you know. And so,
What
like,
is this called? What is this rally
so the
called?
one I do is called Gold Rush Rally.
I just am so curious. I
Yeah.
just want to kind of look.
Yeah. And so like it's just like those are the craziest nights because you'll go into like some little dumpy dive bar. Like, I mean, it wasn't a dumpy dive bar, but like, okay, we were in Kansas City, and there's like a place called like a Power and Light District or something, and it's kind of like a town center, but there's like bars and like restaurants, and like all the bars, like you can see the bars, kind of like the Star almost.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so
like
think
that
the Star.
kind of area.
You know what? It's in Arlington Live, like next to the
Yeah,
stadium.
yeah, the
Texas
It's
Live
the
thing.
same. It's the same concept, okay? But in
Oh,
Kansas
okay.
City, and so like we're in this country bar, and that was like where an event for the night was, and like they have bottle service, like you know, like vodka, tequila, you know, like liquor, but they start asking for champagne, like high end champagne, and I'm not talking like 1 bottle, like 3 liters, 6 liters. 10 bottles, 20 bottles, and where there's like a mechanical bull. So like these people like that
Lordy.
work at these places will go, they'll say yes.
Right.
And then they'll go outside, and these girls were going next door to the bar and like the nightclub and borrowing like the big bottles of champagne, all the champagne we were ordering. So we're like sitting there riding bulls, eating pizza, drinking like a Dom 3-liter just like in the middle of nowhere. So like things like that. I mean, I went to a strip club one time in outside of Colorado Springs. We were staying at the Broadmoor there, which is like amazing resort. And we stay in all 5-star hotels, like
Oh, wow.
all really
That's cool.
like high end. It's very high end. But we were bored, and it was like I had flown in the night before to get everything ready to register. And so we're like, me and like some guys from Austin were like, oh, let's go to the strip club. But there's only like one. And it was like in a, like, again, one of those like storage containers that look like you sell fireworks out of. And
I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
I
off
knew
the side of the
exactly.
highway.
Yes, exactly. I knew it. And it's like next to a military town. So like you walk in, and it was a very strange crowd. It was like little. There was like one area like sectioned off with like shower curtains, and then there's like a long bar, and there's like a little main stage with like seats on like in front of it, and there's like tiny one person stage like on the side. So we're like sitting there, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is so weird. And we're just like observing, you know, because like we don't know, like, do you like throw money here? Like, do you like just get lap dances? Like, we're not really sure. So like I'm like, okay, well, let's just watch. So then we start asking like, okay, we get someone to just be like on this little one person stage for us. And they're like, no, we don't have enough girls. Like, we only have 2 or 3. And so like finally I'm like, okay, so I see like this girl sitting at the bar, and she was definitely into girls, which nothing wrong with that for sure. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ask her because she'll definitely tell me like what is up. So I sit down next to her, and I hand her $200 in ones. And I say, what can I buy you to drink? And she looks at me, and I go, oh no, I'm not a stripper. I was like, I just need you to tell me like the rules here. Like, what do we do here? Like, how much is
Tell
a
me
lap
everything.
dance? Because there was a girl, and it wasn't your average stripper. This stripper was pregnant.
Oh my
No
god.
Yes,
way.
she was a pregnant stripper.
Stop.
I have seen that before as well.
Yes, it was a sight to see. I was like, no,
Yeah, with
no.
the bump
And so
and
like
everything.
my friends, being like the fucking crazy people we are, he goes, I need you to get him a lap dance with that girl. And I'm like, okay, so he gives me like $500. And I'm like, there's no way it's $500. Like, I'm like, okay, but I take the money, and I'm like, okay, let me see. So I go up to the girl, and I'm like trying to ask her like, okay, well, like, do we throw money, or like, is it just lap dances? Like, well, what kind of lap dances, and like what the deal is? And so she tells me, and she goes, well, do you want full nude or just like topless? And I'm like, well, how much is full nude? She's like, $40. And I'm like,
She has 500.
okay, I gave him back $400. I said, here you go. And he goes, what? And I go, it's only $40. I said, I got him 2 lap dances and gave her a $20 tip. And so he had to go back, and the VIP area was like those chairs, like the folding chairs from assemblies, like the hard metal ones,
No way.
and shower curtains.
what?
So like those are like the kind of things that you run into and stuff like that. But then obviously like you'll go out and like, I mean, on Gumball, which is another rally in Europe, it's like basically the biggest one that kind of like started all the little ones. Some guy went in and spent $1 million at a nightclub just because he could. Like shit like
No
that happened. Yeah,
way.
it's just like nothing for them. So like the calibers
Like,
of
fuck
these
you
people,
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the caliber of these people are pretty crazy. So but they're from all over the world. Like, you know, we've got people from Dubai, India, London,
How
Mexico.
cool. You get to meet so many
Yeah,
people.
so that's kind of like, I don't know. It's just like
I think that's amazing.
yeah, I've just kind of grown up doing it. So it's kind of weird. Like all these people have watched me growing up for 10 years doing it. And
Yeah.
they're like, wow, like I can't believe you were only 21 when you started. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm still here.
That's
So,
incredible.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit, anything going on in Dallas? Anything
Any
okay.
new restaurants or clubs or anything
or
that you know of?
anything happened?
Ooh, there's some things in the work. I know like the Monarch Group, they have got some stuff coming up that are going to give some people a run for their money.
Oh, really?
I heard about that.
Secret?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Can you say it? Or
I don't know. I'll ask
I mean,
her
I heard
next
about it.
time
It can't be that much of a secret.
Yeah, I don't don't think it's like a secret, but they're.
I'll say it. I can say it.
Yeah, you can because
you said it. Yeah.
Maple and Ash.
Yeah, Maple and Ash is coming
Yeah.
to
What's
Dallas.
It's their
Yeah, it's
signature
their
steakhouse.
So it's started
and they're
in Chicago.
doing it next to Nick and Sam's.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I
wow.
heard.
So I think it's going to shake things
It's
up
what I
quite a
heard,
bit.
yeah.
Because I mean, in Chicago and in Scottsdale, it's very sexy. It's like, it's kind of what SDK used to be, like very like hip, vibey, but not as like cheesy commercial. Like they do like instead of a roasted like a dry seafood tower, they do like a roasted with the pasta and things like that. So it's gonna give people like a different option, I think, than Nick and Sam's. Although I love Nick and Sam's, still love you. Like no hate towards them. I like love them. I will go there still. But it's definitely there's some new things coming around. I will say I did wait on someone, and I wanted to talk about this because everybody hates this person.
What? Who?
It is, and everybody talks shit on him, and I was like, you know what? I was like, saw his name, I was dreading it, I booked it, and I'm like, God, I don't want to wait on him.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
Chris Brown.
Nope. Nope. That was a good guess though.
Jerry Jones.
He was here
No.
recently.
It's someone. Okay, so
the cowboy dude that broke his thumb?
No. He is
What's
like
his
okay,
name?
Dak.
Dak.
Yeah, that's Dak.
Yeah.
So he's like really hated on the internet, and like because like of the way he acts, which I get that. But like meeting him, I was like, I'm gonna talk about this. Set the
Kanye
record
West.
straight.
Kanye.
No, Patrick Mahomes' little brother, Jackson.
I don't
So
know
like,
who that is.
you guys don't know who that is?
No.
It's like a big thing because Patrick Mahomes, like everybody on the internet talks about how his wife and his brother like ruining the Chiefs and like they should kick him out and not be allowed at games and shit like that. Like, and then there was a story in the news, like, because it's Oklahoma. And he was like, I guess Jackson was like super fucking rude to like these people at like a restaurant or a club or a lounge or something. And like, they were just trying to accommodate him. Like, he didn't give him a heads up. And then he, like, blasted them on the internet. It was like, fuck you guys, blah, blah, blah. Don't nobody go there, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, damn. So I'm like, fuck, this is going to be terrible. But I was going to say, like, I had the most pleasant experience.
The brother or him?
The brother. Because everybody likes Patrick, but everybody hates the brother,
I had
Jackson.
no idea.
I
So
think-
no one likes the brother or
No,
the
but
wife.
No,
I
and it's
think
like
I
a
had
bit-
heard about it.
yeah.
Like he does TikTok stuff like that. Yeah,
like
okay.
he has a big feud with like Dave Portnoy from Barstool, like because like Dave Portnoy basically called him like a loser or something, which he did. He does look like a loser in his videos. I will give him that. But I was like totally dreading it, and I was like, oh my god, like this kid's gonna fucking suck. And he was so nice. He was so polite. Said please and thank you. Not a single person in his group was rude. They all had fun. They were all collect. He gave me his own credit card, his own ID, and tipped well over.
Nice.
So I wanted to put it out for
I
all the
love
mean
this.
hate that this Jackson kid gets. I had a pleasant experience.
I
So maybe he
love
learned
that.
his lesson, and it's not his juicy gossip, but you know.
But I
set
think
the
that
record
this
straight
kind
is
of stuff is
important.
cool too. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, was he a douche? And I was actually texting one of my girlfriends, and I was like, because she was always like talking shit on him, like on Instagram, like just for fun, you know?
Yeah. So does he play football?
No, he doesn't.
The brother doesn't.
He's just
Oh.
like a TikToker, I guess. He's like what you would call him. I'm not really sure. And so I was texting her, and I'm like, oh my god, like you'll never guess who's coming in because we were talking about him because he was like just in the tabloids for like him and Patrick's wife like sprayed a bunch of champagne on fans, and it was like 10 degrees, so they were all like freezing cold and soaking wet. So I was like, oh my god, you'll never guess who's coming in. And I was like texting her. I'm like, oh my god, nothing's true. He's so nice.
Oh, that's
so
good.
yeah, yeah. So nothing really crazy. It's summer's ending, so this is when the crazies are starting to come because football season started. So they were in camp and they were
Yes.
training. So now they're full swinging. So they'll be out during, the weeks here and there. And hockey, so things are starting to pick back up. So summer is always kind of slow because people are out of town,
Traveling.
vacation,
Wow.
that kind of stuff. So.
Anything besides dating with your personal life to catch us up on?
Well, I didn't tell Cruz yet, but I think we should dye my hair.
Oh.
Pink again?
No,
What are you thinking?
What?
I've got some ideas.
Okay.
What are
Hit
they?
me up.
Red.
No, oh
Dark.
god, no! I love red.
We all learned what happened with Danielle.
Oh well, okay. I don't want to be Fire Ranger. I love the three RV was my color for years.
Yeah.
Years. No, but that's like nothing exciting. I mean, we're working on some stuff. I really want to get the concierge business like up and running. So
You would
We've
be.
got some
I mean,
ideas.
I
Oh my
think
God.
that's just
Yes.
like.
yeah, I kind of want to do like a Black American Express style scale, but like for my clients specifically, like, and just a small amount.
You would
like
kill it.
Oh my
You would
God.
So
I feel like you
kill
pretty
it.
much do it already.
I know. I literally have like 6 people I need to call back after this to like do their parties. Like I've got a bachelor party coming up. I've got something in Arizona. I've got like a wedding party, like a bunch of stuff. So just
you
kinda
already do it. You just need to put a number on it.
I don't want to do one-offs. I want you, like one person. Like I want 10 people, and I want to do everything for those 10 people. So like almost
that.
like a
Just be
personal
on-
assistant,
yeah.
but like because to me like that like the more personal it is, the more it's more valuable it is.
Absolutely.
So like 24-hour 365.
I love it. You're
All
gonna be
day.
Yeah.
amazing.
But 10
Amazing.
people, like 10 clients on retainer for 1 year.
You hear this out there?
Yeah.
The lucky 10.
The
and then you
lucky
need
The
to
10.
lucky 10.
And you know, and then you're grandfathered in after the 1 year.
well,
So,
and then you need to
Wow.
actually franchise it.
yeah,
I mean,
kind of.
how do you franchise yourself though?
I don't think you do.
Can
I-
train someone.
No, you can't train people for this.
Yeah.
You can't. It's not. It's
Yeah, I
not
think
a
you have
skill.
to-
It's not just networking.
because it's
I
not
mean,
networking and
knowing, understanding people.
and you have to know people like clients
true.
and you have to know the business people because
Okay.
I need to have a relationship with you as my client and you as my host or my club owner or the person if I'm renting a car, you personally, because if I don't know you personally and something goes wrong, or if I know you personally and something goes wrong, I can hold you accountable for that. Because
Yeah.
if you get
true.
to LA and you're picking up it's supposed to be a Lamborghini Urus and you show up and it's a Lamborghini Aventador, it's still a Lamborghini, right? But how are you going to put your 2 kids in the back seat? You're not. That's
the problem.
you know, a problem. Things
Yeah.
like that to avoid. So like, I don't know. I think smaller is better. I think in time, like people will, you'll meet people that will be a right fit and not more. It's not a job you interview for, is what I tell people. It's
Got
like,
it.
I don't think that you put it on Craigslist and say like, oh, I'm looking for, you know, an organized
a
social.
niche.
Yeah, it's more like I've really like had a lot of people come to me for jobs, like in general, even in the corporate world, saying like, I know what you can do. I'm gonna make this job for you. So like, it's one of those things. Like, you don't go in and interview for it. Like, it's
You
like,
would just find someone and be like, you know
Uh-huh.
what? I feel like you could be really.
yeah,
You
and
need
it doesn't
me.
have to be
Yeah.
someone like in service industry necessarily. It could be like, you know, just someone who goes out a lot and just
Mhm.
knows a lot of people and like.
But it's not
that's-
just party stuff. I
No,
mean, it's
no,
everything.
it's everything. Like, I mean, I want to go as far as like, you know, like a full like doctor pay like 10-page preference book. Like, so when you text or call me, it's a very minimal like interaction. 3 sentences. I want to do this day, this time, this many people.
Oh my,
That's
that's
it.
amazing.
So that way you don't have to spend the time. Oh, well, where do you want to eat? What hotel do you want to stay in? I already know what you like. I already know what floors you like on the hotel. I know you don't
Dang.
like feathers in your pillows. I know that you like to be picked up in a
if I
black
had money,
SUV.
I would be your first.
What was that on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? The new one. What's her name? Diana.
Diana?
And she's like,
She's a little much for me.
I know, but she makes me laugh with like her whole crew goes like.
But for wealthy people like that, that is very
normal.
yeah. Like a lot of people like in the Asian culture, they like things that are red because it's lucky. That's why the win is majority red in the casino. All the
That's why
carpets
most
are
of the
red.
casinos.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, Wynn and Bellagio are typically, and Resort World now are geared towards like more of the Asian cultures. But like they also like to face a certain way. I think
Yeah.
it's like West or
the
something
feng
like that.
shui.
Yeah. So things like that, like niche, and you know, I think it's very important.
Yeah.
So like I want to sell something that nobody can buy.
I
Yeah.
love it.
I could see
Well, we can see you doing
I
all that.
know. We'll see.
that.
Hopefully,
Liv,
it's
you're
in the
gonna do
works.
it.
I
love
think
it.
you will. I mean,
Yes.
you already are. I feel like.
Yeah,
Just
I think
needs-
honestly, I'm just feeling a little lazy. Like once I do it, like it'll be done.
Yeah.
It won't take very long.
Thank you for coming
Of
on the
course,
show again. We love
anytime.
having
I
you.
love it.
Yes.
And let's get everybody out of the show. Why don't you start it, Liv?
Whoa, what do I say?
You just tell them.
Hi, I'm Olivia Guley. I'm one of the gossip girls here at Two Posh Podcasts. You can find me on Instagram at Liv's World. And if you need me, I'll be crying in my Bentley.
Marcella, co-host of the Two Posh Podcast. You can find me on all social media platforms, Marcella Ranieri. You can also find me on TikTok, Marcella Ranieri 7. And I say whatever the fuck I want.
My name is Cruz Kafur. You can find me on Instagram, and that's pretty much it. And let's do some tequila together on the next show.
If you enjoy listening to our show, please follow Two Posh Podcast on all social media handles and tell all your family and friends about it. And Two Posh Podcast is on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, don't hesitate to leave us a review, comments, feedback, or ask us any questions. And follow me on my personal social media on Instagram at gabby.talks and Facebook at Gabrielle Kendler Gilmore. And I have no secrets. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Woo.